Good morning, students. In the last section, we have discussed about the gel electrophoresis for the separation of DNA fragments of different sizes. In this section, we are going to discuss about the cloning vectors. Cloning vectors. That means the vectors which are used for cloning purpose. Those are called as cloning vectors. So coming to this cloning vector, we are going to discuss first about the constructed plasmid, which is called as PBR 322. Which is called as PBR 322. Here the lowercase letter P stands for plasmid, B stands for Bolivar, R stands for Rodriguez. That means this is the plasmid which was constructed by two scientists, Bolivar and Rodriguez, and 322 is the identification number of this specific plasmid. So we have different types of plasmids like PBR 325, PBR 326, PBR 327, PBR 328. Like this, different types of plasmids are present with different identification numbers. Now coming to the structure of this plasmid, here we can see these are called as the restriction sites. So all these like ECO R1, PU, PVU1, PST1, BAM H1, SAL1, PVU2, these are all called as the restriction sites. And this is called as ORI, that is origin of replication. This is called as origin of replication. And this is called as ROP, that is here this is the gene sequence which is responsible for the production of proteins which are required for the process of replication. That is called as ROP. And these are called as the gene sequences for antibiotics. These are called as the gene sequences for antibiotics. This is the gene sequence for antibiotic ampicillin resistance, and this is the gene sequence for tetracycline resistance. So this is about the structure of PBR 322, which was constructed by Bolivar and Rodriguez. Now in order to consider any vector for cloning purpose, it has to satisfy certain requirements. So these are the features which are required for considering this for considering any vector for cloning purpose. So those features are: it should have origin of replication, and it should have selectable markers, cloning sites, and it should be used for cloning genes in plants and animals. It should be used for cloning genes in plants and animals. If these features are present in any vector, then it can be used for cloning. And as I told you already, cloning is nothing but production of multiple copies of required gene or desired gene. That is called as cloning. So here now we are going to see the first one, that is the origin of replication. So this is identified as ORI. This is called as origin of replication. So any foreign DNA, if it gets ligated to this ORI, then it begins to replicate. The foreign DNA is going to get replicated in the host itself. And this ORI is responsible for the number of multiple copies of the DNA that is to be produced. So it is the number of multiple copies of DNA which are produced is regulated by this ORI, which is called as origin of replication. So if you want to get more number of copies of desired DNA fragment, then it should be cloned into a vector whose ORI should support high number of DNA copies. Whose ORI should support a high number of DNA copies, then it should be aligned to that ORI of that particular plasmid. Then the next one is the selectable markers. Selectable markers, these are called as selectable markers. So these are the gene sequences which are responsible for certain antibiotic resistance. Here in this plasmid, which was isolated from Escherichia coli, original plasmid of E. coli does not have any antibiotic resistance genes. This is a constructed one, artificially synthesized or constructed plasmid. That is why here the gene sequences for two antibiotic resistance have been inserted. One is the ampicillin resistance antibiotic gene, and the other one is the tetracycline resistance antibiotic gene. So these two gene sequences for ampicillin resistance and the other one is for tetracycline resistance can be considered as selectable markers. Then the next one is cloning sites. Cloning sites, every plasmid should have only one cloning site. So though it has cloning sites, two antibiotic resistant genes, but only one recognition site can be used. Either the foreign DNA can be ligated in the ampicillin resistant gene, or it can be ligated in the tetracycline resistant gene, but it cannot be ligated in both in two recognition sites, as a result of which a number of DNA fragments will be produced, which makes the gene cloning process more complicated. So only one can be used as a recognition site or a cloning site where the foreign DNA can get ligated to any one of these antibiotic resistance gene sequence. That is about cloning site. Now, suppose if a gene, if an aligned DNA or the foreign DNA is got ligated to the tetracycline, it's got ligated to the genome sequence of gene sequence of tetracycline antibiotic, then this plasmid it loses the tetracycline resistance. It loses the tetracycline resistance, but still it can be used for separating the non-recombinants from the recombinants. It can be used for separating the non-recombinants from the recombinants by transferring these transformed cells from the ampicillin, from the solution containing ampicillin antibiotic to the solution containing tetracycline antibiotics. So when these transformed cells are placed in solution containing ampicillin resistance, then those transformed cells will be able to survive because it has the resistance of ampicillin. But when these transformed cells are transformed to a medium which is containing the tetracycline, then those cells cannot survive because these have not the capacity of tetracycline resistance. Because of the ligation of foreign DNA in this place, these cells will lose the tetracycline resistance, as a result of which the E. coli cells are going to get killed. So in this way, one antibiotic is useful for selecting the recombinants from the non-recombinants. So the non-recombinants can grow in both the medium which is containing both ampicillin antibiotic as well as the tetracycline antibiotic, because the non-recombinant DNA will not have any foreign DNA in any of the sites, in any of the gene sequences, either in ampicillin gene sequence or in tetracycline gene sequence. There is no the ligation of this foreign DNA. As such, these non-recombinants will have the resistance for both ampicillin as well as tetracycline. So when the cells are placed with non-recombinants are placed on the solution containing both ampicillin and tetracycline, those cells will remain alive. So in this way, these selectable markers are useful in separating the recombinants from the non-recombinants. But this process is a complicated process because it requires plating of these cells on two different antibiotic solutions simultaneously. So another process have been developed in order to differentiate the recombinants from non-recombinants, which is called as white-blue screening method. White-blue screening method. So in that white-blue screening method, some of the vectors like PUC. PUC is the vector which is made from the University of California. So some of these vectors will contain a small portion of gene sequence, which is called as LAG-Z gene. It is called as LAG-Z gene. So this gene sequence is able to produce an enzyme which is called as beta-galactosidase enzyme. Which is called as beta-galactosidase enzyme. So this beta-galactosidase enzyme, in presence of some colorless chromogenic substance called as XGAL, in presence of some colorless chromogenic substance called as XGAL, it is able to cleave the lactose into glucose and galactose. It is able to cleave the lactose into glucose and galactose and produce the blue colored colonies. But when any aligned DNA or the foreign DNA comes and get attached to this gene sequence of LAG-Z gene, Due to this, the lag Z gene is going to get inactivated because of the insertion of this foreign DNA, which is called as insertional inactivation. Insertional inactivation, that is, here the foreign DNA is getting inserted in place of lag Z gene, as a result of which the lag Z gene is going to get inactivated. That process is called as insertional inactivation. That as a result of which beta galactosidase enzyme is not produced. So when this beta galactosidase enzyme is not produced, then the cleavage of this lactose into glucose and galactose will not take place, and there is no appearance of blue colored colonies. Instead, it remains white in color. The colony will remain, the medium will remain white in color. So the white color indicates that there is a recombination, whereas the blue color indicates that they are non-recombinants. So because of the presence of this alien DNA, there is no production of this glucose and galactose from lactose, and hence there is no appearance of blue color. So in this way, the insertional inactivation is the method which is useful for differentiating the recombinants from the non-recombinants by using the insertional inactivation method. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe my video.